If you sit with the elderly long enough, you'll hear it, a kind of wisdom shaped not by possessions, but by letting them go. But listen closely, because it's not a lesson they offer with grand speeches or heavy philosophy. It comes in the smallest moments, in the way they run a hand along an old wooden table before giving it away, in the way their eyes soften when they choose silence over noise, simplicity over spectacle. These are the quiet rituals of people who have lived long enough to see the truth we often rush past. They know that every object we cling to leaves a subtle imprint on us, just a small weight, barely noticeable at first. But over decades, these weights accumulate, shaping the pace of our days, the tension in our shoulders, the restlessness in our minds. And then comes the moment, always understated, always gentle, when they begin to release those weights. Not out of fatigue, but out of awakening. It is in these moments that we begin to understand something astonishing. They aren't simplifying because life has grown smaller. They're simplifying because their freedom has grown larger. Watch them carefully. An elderly woman choosing to keep only the letters that truly matter. An older man clearing his schedule not because he has fewer responsibilities, but because he finally knows what deserves the hours he has left. Their lives become lighter, more intentional, almost serene. And here lies the quiet revelation they rarely voice, yet live profoundly. Minimalism isn't a trend. It's a liberation, a return to the self, a remembering of what makes life undeniably ours. Tonight, we explore how the wisdom of elders, those who have walked the longest roads, can guide us back to a life of clarity, depth, and inner freedom. A freedom that begins not by adding more, but by courageously choosing less. As we follow this path shaped by our elders, the first lesson emerges not in words, but in their remarkable ease with letting things go. To them, release is not loss, it is refinement. The same way a river sheds silt to run clearer, they shed the unnecessary so life may move again. Watch an elder standing before a drawer that has not been opened in years. There is no rush, no guilt, no frantic sorting. Instead, there is a quiet, deliberate recognition. What here still carries meaning? What here still carries me? Modern life teaches us to grip tightly, to collect, to preserve, to store. But elderly wisdom teaches us something far more radical, that the true measure of a belonging is not in how long we've had it, but in how lightly it allows us to live. They choose objects the way a gardener prunes a tree, removing what burdens the branches so the whole can rise. And in that simple act of discarding a shirt once loved, a tool once used, a habit once needed, they practice a form of bravery many of us forget exists. For to release something is to face ourselves without it, to ask, who am I when I am no longer defined by these things? And in their calm, almost meditative letting go, they illuminate a path we often overlook. That minimalism is not about owning little, but about owning only what harmonizes with the life we want to live. In this gentle courage, in this steady unclenching, we glimpse the first doorway to inner freedom. As we continue, another truth of elderly wisdom reveals itself, the mastery of time. While the world hurries, rushing to accumulate more things, more tasks, more noise, the elders move with a rhythm of intention. They have learned that freedom is born not from doing everything, but from choosing what truly matters. Observe how they approach their mornings, deliberate, unhurried, and attentive. Each moment carries weight, yet no moment is wasted. They do not chase productivity as a measure of worth. Instead, they understand that life expands in the space between obligations, in the calm that follows measured action. Their possessions, carefully curated over decades, are chosen to serve this rhythm. A chair by the window, a single teacup, a well-worn book, each object is purposeful, unburdened by excess, unclaimed by distraction. Every item has a role, every day has a shape, and within this deliberate simplicity, they discover a remarkable clarity. It is here, in the harmony of time and choice, that inner freedom begins to take root. The elders show us that minimalism is not merely the art of owning less. but the art of living with time as our most treasured companion. In their quiet mastery, we see a template for living fully, not frantically, where freedom is measured not by what we gain, but by what we allow to remain uncluttered in the heart and mind. As the elders navigate their days, another layer of their wisdom emerges, the quiet power of intentional habits. Unlike the fleeting trends of modern life, their routines are carefully forged over decades, not imposed by urgency, but chosen with foresight. Each action, each ritual, is a thread woven into the tapestry of a life uncluttered and purposeful. Consider their morning, a deliberate cup of tea, a moment of reflection, the attentive tending to simple tasks that many would overlook. These acts are small, almost invisible to the hurried eye, yet they ripple outward, creating a profound sense of order and calm. There is no haste, no waste, only a rhythm that honors presence and nurtures resilience. In this cadence, minimalism is revealed as more than removing objects. It becomes a way to cultivate the mind and spirit. By repeating practices that matter, the elders minimize distractions and maximize attention, creating a life that is steady, intentional, and deeply fulfilling. It is through these subtle, consistent choices that freedom solidifies, not through grand gestures, but through the persistent shaping of days, each one a quiet declaration of control over what truly deserves space in both home and heart. In their steady routines, we see a roadmap. Minimalism is not absence, but deliberate presence. As we follow the elders further, a remarkable pattern emerges, the art of choosing less, yet experiencing more. They do not measure life by the accumulation of possessions, but by the depth of attention, the quality of moments, and the richness of connection. Every object, every commitment, is carefully weighed, not discarded out of scarcity, but selected for its true value. A single well-crafted chair, a worn but treasured book, a simple walk in the garden. These are the vessels through which they engage fully with the world. There is a mindfulness to their choices, a deliberate curation of experiences that modern abundance often obscures. By owning fewer things, their senses sharpen, their awareness deepens, and their days become less about consumption and more about presence. In watching this, we realize that minimalism is not merely a philosophy of emptiness. It is a philosophy of clarity. Each removal of excess is an invitation to embrace the essential. Conversations that matter, nature's quiet spectacles, the slow unfolding of a day lived with purpose. Through this lens, freedom is no longer an abstract ideal. It is a lived reality, honed through decades of disciplined, yet profoundly human, choice. Here, the elders teach us that the truest richness comes not from having more, but from experiencing fully what we allow into our lives. In simplicity, there is not loss, but a widening of perception, a liberation that modern busyness too often conceals. As we near the culmination of our journey, we observe a delicate symphony that the elders have mastered, the orchestration of daily simplicity. It is in the gentle rhythm of their mornings, the measured pace of their tasks, the quiet rituals that anchor their days. There is no rush, no frantic scramble for fleeting gratification. Instead, there is an elegance in restraint, a profound appreciation for the ordinary moments that so often escape notice. Each day is a careful arrangement, as if life itself were a musical composition. The soft creak of a wooden chair, the sunlight spilling across a worn table, the aroma of tea steeping. These are the notes in a melody of intentional living. The elders understand that in trimming the superfluous, the subtle nuances of life emerge with startling clarity, revealing beauty that the hurried and cluttered eye would overlook. In their presence, we see that minimalism is less a practice of removal and more an art of attunement. By aligning with the natural cadence of life, they experience freedom not as a distant aspiration, but as an ever-present reality. The simple acts, choosing what to keep, what to cherish, what to release, compose a daily ritual that nourishes both body and mind, and quietly teaches those who watch that liberation is woven into the fabric of intentional simplicity. Through this lens, we begin to understand that true freedom is not external, but cultivated in the quiet mastery of each day, in the conscious shaping of space, time, and attention. It is here, in the subtle orchestration of life itself, that elderly wisdom turns minimalism into a living, breathing experience of inner freedom. And so, the journey comes full circle. What the elders have quietly shown us is that minimalism is far more than a design choice or lifestyle trend. It is a gateway to liberation. By embracing restraint, valuing depth over abundance, and moving through life with deliberate attention, they reveal that true freedom is cultivated within, not acquired externally. This is a wisdom that transcends generations, a call to pause, to observe, and to reclaim the calm that modern life so often obscures. Let it inspire you to reflect on your surroundings, your routines, and the habits you carry, and to consider what can be simplified, not for the sake of emptiness, but to make space for clarity, serenity, and purposeful living. Stay curious, remain intentional, and let the lessons of elderly wisdom guide you toward a life uncluttered in body, mind, and spirit. Explore further, dive deeper into the practices of mindful simplicity, and allow yourself to discover the quiet, unshakable freedom that minimalism can bring. Live with intention, live with presence, live with the clarity that comes from knowing less can indeed be more.